I survived 100 days in Vintage Story. In fact, I did it twice. Both runs were very different, but the challenges I faced were pretty common, so I thought maybe I could complain about that in a video, you know? And don't get me wrong, I loved surviving in Vintage Story and I would probably do it again, but I found these 10 things that can make Vintage Story a better game. In fact, some of these things already exist as mods, but I would absolutely love to have them in vanilla. With the introduction of the super cool endgame content, such as the new dungeon with a boss and a glider recipe and a bunch of useful stuff you can get there, I thought it's a missed opportunity to not be able to connect the teleporter that is in the translocator room to a teleporter that is close to your base or spawn point. In both 100-day runs, I found the translocator that was very close to my base. In fact, in one of my survivals I even built a house on top of it and literally had it in my basement, so maybe it would be a cool feature to be able to choose a destination where you can teleport, and you can see a new destination only if you've discovered that portal. This way I could loot the dungeon so much more efficiently and just navigate between the teleports easier. I even tried breaking the translocator to see if I could put it where I wanted it to be, but that didn't seem to back out. So I decided, alright, screw that, maybe I could just use the newly found glider to move around faster. I quickly realized that you can pretty much fly across 800 blocks and save a lot of time, so the idea was to build a bunch of huge pillars into the sky and just fly from one post to another. Now, the biggest problem was that some of these flights were not extremely successful, okay? Sometimes I would smash into the wall and get absolutely pancaked, but the other day I would just get a heart attack or something. Come on, I didn't even hit anything, what happened? Anyways, having the fall damage disabled would make so much more sense using the glider. And yeah, I know it's not super realistic, but when I died twice near the same pillar that was half the way to my house, I felt absolutely destroyed. Ultimately, you can still use the glider, but it's just a 50-50% chance whether you're gonna arrive at your destination or to the cloud storage, okay? One of the crazy parts of the gameplay was chiseling. Man, I spent my best years chiseling these stupid windows. I chiseled them for so long that the tree that I planted became a Pinocchio, left the house, got divorced 3 times and blamed me for not giving it enough attention. So having an opportunity to copy the chiseled blocks at the cost of resources would make my life so much easier. I haven't used panning all that much, but I remember once I had to pan like 1 stack of bony soil, and it was crazy. It's somewhat on the same level with chiseling. If there was some way to automate the panning process, that would make a massive life quality booster. And I know it already exists as a mod, so why not? Bro, these freaking sheep are gonna be my nightmares now. I don't know where I struggled the most, getting from copper age to steel or milking that stupid sheep to get 50 liters of milk and making that cheese. And when I did actually get the truckle, it turned out that it had horrible saturation. I wasn't getting it for food in the first place, but rather for the style. But still, you can imagine eating a quarter of the cheese circle, you'd be full for half of the day. So why not make it a more nutritious and Vintage Story? Now, before I went to the dungeon to beat the boss, in both cases I was crafting 5 bronze spears, and both times I was asking myself, why isn't there an iron spear or a steel one? Suppose I enjoy the range combat that the spear offers, but the game forces me to enjoy the melee combat as well, and I'm totally happy with it because Falx is faster, but I would simply use both because that's what I do with the bronze spears in my pocket anyway. And I also have the Falx ready to smash some nearby threats, so maybe I could just as well have the steel spear to become really OP. Sticks are hard to find, easy to lose, and absolutely impossible to forget, because once you get to that wind power or clay firing, you'll need a crazy lot of sticks. And yeah, it's all fine having the scissors and just trimming the leaves here and there to get a bunch of sticks quickly, but I think there should also be an opportunity to craft sticks from firewood or maybe logs, and that also it does exist. I don't know what's the deal with punching animals in the face to get them domesticated, but I'm sure that's exactly how our ancestors did it. Gogi, do you see that sheep over there? Yes, Gogi, I do. Now, what do you want? Latte or cappuccino? I actually don't care, let's just beat the shit out of it and see what kind of macchiato we can get. So I did manage to domesticate all the animals this way and it was kind of fun, but wouldn't it be friendlier to just have a lead that you can use to actually pilot the animals into the paddock? Now, trading was a big part of my gameplay. I'm extremely happy that it exists, because both times it allowed me to buy the resources and not have to worry about finding them in some far away. Sometimes traders just keep the resources and replenish them, and sometimes they rotate them, so your desired product is already gone before you can scrape enough gears to pay for it. So maybe you could also place orders and have these traders deliver the goods for you, within their specialty of course, like survival goods or treasure hunter stuff and so on. They don't seem to have loads of customers here anyway. Finally, I got so excited about Vintage Story 1.19 update that I actually wanted to include that feature in the list, not only because I wanted, but also because I needed it to make a 10-item list and just ran out of ideas and challenges that I faced. So yeah, starting from 1.19 you can catch young animals with a basket, but it's available starting from the 5th generation. Wouldn't that be more practical to not be generation bound? I can actually imagine our ancestors stealing youngsters to domesticate them, because no one would want to mess around with a grown-up bighorn or something. Alright guys, so these are the 10 ideas or things that I would absolutely love to have in the vanilla game. Some of them are already covered by the mods, but maybe one day we can see something from this list in the vanilla version as well. And what would you like to see? Let's get delusional in the comments and maybe generate a bunch of ideas for the true modders out there, so we can have our features in mods.